you ever wanted to make your own incense? Have you ever thought about selling your own incense? In this video, you will learn how to prepare custom incense that you can use for yourself or sell. The first item you'll need will be unscented incense sticks. I have a pack here that's about 100. You will also need a container to soak the incense sticks in. I've chosen a tall, relatively thin container here, and I'll explain that later why you would want to use a container like that. You're going to use your DPG. DPG is a cutting oil. It's used to dilute the fragrance oil and helps the fragrance oil to be absorbed into the incense sticks. You'll also need fragrance oil. Fragrance oil is what gives the wonderful variety of scents to incense. This is part of incense making where you can be the most creative. You can try different fragrances and mix different fragrances together to make your own new fragrance blends. For this tutorial, I've used orange patchouli. We have a 16-ounce bottle here, which is a nice size for mixing to make the mixture you'll need to put the incense sticks into. Smaller quantities you can use, but it's kind of hard to fill up the container well for soaking. Finally, a container in which to dry the incense sticks. That's not shown here, but you'll need a container in which to put the sticks after you finish soaking them to dry them back out again and get them ready to be burned. Alright, let's get started. First, put all your supplies together on a good stable working surface. One thing to remember is that fragrance oil is pretty strong stuff, so you may want to do this in a garage or basement area where you won't have to smell the fragrance oil all day. We'll start by adding the fragrance oil to the soaking container. As I said before, we will be using half of a 1-pound bottle of orange patchouli fragrance oil for this batch of incense sticks. Okay, that looks about right. Now we'll add the DPG to the soaking container. For the DPG, we add the whole 1-pound bottle. You might want to save this bottle for later. After you finish making your incense sticks, you'll have a lot of incense mixture, fragrance mixture left over. And you can either make more sticks immediately, or you can save this mixture to use later. If you got like a funnel or something, you can pour this mixture back into that used DPG bottle. That's a good way to store it. Keeps it nice and sealed. Now we'll just mix this up a little bit to get it nicely combined. And now we have the unscented incense sticks. For this tutorial, I'll untie them so that they'll be more distributed in the mixture. This isn't really necessary, and if you'll be making these to resell, you might want to keep them in the tied packs of 100. That way you can just resell the whole pack all at once and you don't have to retie it back together. Alright, be careful when you're adding the incense sticks to the fragrance mixture so it doesn't overflow. You don't want to get that fragrance oil all over your work surface. Okay, your incense is now soaked for 24 hours and it's ready to be removed from the fragrance mixture and dried. As you can see, I'm using gloves. I use gloves because I don't like to get the fragrance oil on my hands. Even when I wash with soap afterwards, that smell just can stay on for a long time and it's really strong. So I'm using gloves, that way I can just throw the gloves out afterwards and don't have to worry about it. For drying, I'll be using this plastic container. This container is nice because it's large enough to put all the incense sticks in, and it lets some air flow around them so they'll dry out nice and quick. For any container you're going to use, you're going to want a plastic container, or metal is okay. Take the incense sticks out of the fragrance mixture and place it in the drying container. I'm going to spread the sticks out a bit so they'll dry faster. If your sticks are still tied together, then you can leave them tied. They'll just take a little bit more time to finish drying. Now you can take the used fragrance mixture and either make some more incense with it immediately, or you can store it in a container with a good lid for future use, like the original TPG container, as I said before. Let the incense sticks dry for about 24 hours. That way they won't be too sticky. You might also, if you've left your incense sticks tied together in bundles of 100, you might want to let them dry for 48 hours to be sure, because you don't want to have oil dripping out of them when you sell them, or even when you're moving them around, just because you don't want to get oil all over the place. After the 24-hour drying period is up, your incense is ready to burn or sell. This is a good time to check out your incense and see if you really like the way the smell came out. Some fragrances will work better than others. Certain fragrances just don't really smell that great when you burn them. A good option is to try out a few different ones. Maybe get an ounce of oil here, an ounce of oil of another kind, and then try them out with really small batches of maybe 10, 15 incense sticks. Then when you burn them, you can check them and see, what really smells good to you and what smells your customers might like if you're reselling these. And then after that, you can go ahead and move up to the larger batches, where you fill up something like what I'm doing here with 1.5 pounds of mixture, 1 pound of DPG and half a pound of fragrance oil. You can put those together. I wouldn't do this quantity until you really sort of know what's going to smell good. It's really up to you to test this out and try it out and see what works best. Good luck with your incense.